Okay, so we are recording this session. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Hal Pepper. I work with UT Extension Center for Profitable Agriculture. And we appreciate your joining us for the Developing Value-Added Agriculture Businesses webinars and workshop series. This series of 4 webinars and a workshop that will be conducted in 3 locations is designed to help producers gear up to submit a competitive application to the USDA Rural Development Value-Added Producer Grant. The Value-Added Producer Grant helps agricultural producers enter into value-added activities related to processing and marketing. We expect USDA Rural Development to announce the next round of funding for the Value-Added Producer Grant very soon. And the goal of this webinar and workshop series is to help as many producers as possible develop a strong application. There's 2 types of value-added producer grants. There are planning grants and there are working capital grants. And a planning grant is used to fund development of a planned program of economic planning activities to determine the viability of a potential value-added venture, specifically for paying a consultant to conduct and develop a feasibility study, business plan, and/or a marketing plan that's associated with the processing and/or marketing of a value-added production. Working capital grants provide funds to operate a value-added project specifically to pay the eligible project expenses directly related to processing and/or marketing. But for both of these grants, for both the planning and the working capital grants, you have to discuss the technological feasibility of the project in your application, as well as operational efficiency, profitability, and overall economic sustainability resulting from the project. So it's very important in your application to provide the documentation that they're looking for in these areas. And so the presenters that we've selected for these webinars and workshops, they're going to talk about topics that will help you identify resources to aid you in business planning and in developing the documentation that's needed to support your value-added producer grant application. So see if I can get back here to my slides. Today's presenters are Troy Duggar, who is the program coordinator for the Center for Profitable Agriculture, and Les Humpal, who is an area farm management specialist with the UT Manage program. And they're going to talk to you today about resources available through the Center for Profitable Agriculture and the Manage program to grow your value-added business. So we'll begin with Troy Duggar. Troy, I'm going to unshare. I'm going to stop sharing my screen so you can share yours. And I will turn it over to you.
All right, Hal. Sorry for that little pause there. Good on your end?
Yes, sir. Very good.
All right.
Thank
Very
you.
good. Very good. Let me get something moved out of the way here just a little bit. All right. Thank you, Hal, for that introduction. And thank everyone for being on the call today. I know we've got a few scheduled this week. As Hal said, I am Troy Duggar. I'm with the Center for Profitable Agriculture. I work with Hal in the center as a program coordinator here. And I'm just going to touch on some of the resources available through the Center for Profitable Agriculture. These things may not assist you directly in filling out the application for the value-added producer grant, but hopefully it'll give you some direction in looking for some resources that Hal mentioned that may give you some help in developing and implementing your value-added idea. So that's what we're going to try to look at today. All right. The Center for Profitable Agriculture has been around. Most of you, hopefully a lot of you have used the center, used some of the resources that we've had over the years, but the center's been around for 20 plus years. Had its beginning in Knoxville as the Agriculture Development Center, later became known as the Center for Profitable Agriculture, or CPA as we call it sometimes. Moved its offices to Spring Hill at the Research Center for a long period of time. And when it made that move to Spring Hill, became a partner with Farm Bureau. So we're part of UT Extension and a partner with Farm Bureau organization in Tennessee. And about 3 years ago, our offices moved on down the road a little bit to Columbia, and we're currently at the William P. Ridley 4-H Center in Columbia. And so the aim of the center has always been helping producers to develop value-added agriculture ideas, and that's what we are all about. Just a quick review, and this may be very elementary to some of you, as we look at what is value added for just a moment. As we look at that and think about just a very quick definition of value added, I use the photo here of just someone selling strawberries. And you can sell those strawberries, but maybe later on you think about how can I keep some of those dollars back on my farm and keep a larger percentage of that dollar bill on my farm. So I might go through, as the slide explains there, processing, packaging, or marketing that crop into jams and jellies or breads or whatever it might be, in order to have a higher value product, and you keep that on your farm. So you're adding value to that raw resource, if you will. And through those processing, packaging, or marketing, you're keeping more of that dollar back on your farm. We also work closely with the Tennessee Department of Agriculture, and especially in food products and the food regulations, so that we kind of guide folks through those the right regulations, and we're getting the product in the right form and going through the right things that we need to in order that those things may can hit the market. Again, just some things that we look at value added. Maybe you've got milk, and you want to develop that into other dairy products. And Ohio's doing a lot of work in value added dairy right now, with maybe selling milk on the farm or cheese products or whatever it might be. We mentioned strawberries and moving those into jams and jellies, or it may be some farm resources that you have. A lot of people looking at agritourism things or agritourism ventures for the farm. Lately, as you certainly know, livestock and meats. It could be selling meats from your farm that takes in a lot of other things, but there's certainly some opportunities there as well. It may be fruits and vegetables, where you're direct marketing some of your things through a farmer's market or directly from your farm. Those are certainly some things we think about adding value to those products that are on the farm also. I want to take just a few minutes, if you will, just to kind of guide through maybe some of the resources that we have here at the center. And I want to do that by kind of going through our website a little bit. We've kind of changed some things on our website a little while back. If you haven't been on it, hopefully this will help you guide you through some of the resources that we have on our website. I want you to know, first of all, just our address, cpa.tennessee.edu. If you would do that, hopefully you'll come to this landing page that we have here. And I've just got, this is not a live on the internet or anything, just got some shots here that I've taken of our website. And doing so, I had to leave out some of the pretty photos that we have to make everything fit. But on the right is just some of the buttons that to notice about our center that we'll kind of go through quickly, so that you'll know some of the things that our center has to offer. The paragraph tells you a little bit more about what we do here in the center. Call your attention to our newest logo that we have, and certainly hopefully that it reflects what we do as well, helping farmers develop value-added enterprises, and that's what we are striving to do. These next couple of slides are going to be a lot of writing on there because it's directly from the website. I'm not going to read through everything certainly on here, but if you look at our mission, vision, and objectives of CPA, I want you to notice these things at the bottom. What we strive to do is assist farmers and agri entrepreneurs in the evaluation, planning, and development of value-added business ideas. that comes from the farmers. And again, they are value-added agriculture enterprises of what we're looking at. Also, in our office, we develop value-added educational materials. So we've got a lot of good educational materials on our website. Hopefully you've seen some of those in some of the other meetings that you've been involved with. So our specialists here spend a lot of time in developing those materials, writing those materials, getting those things published, and trying to keep those as timely and as updated as we possibly can for some good resources that you can have as well. At the center, we also implement value-added educational outreach programs, such as Hal has put this program together that you're involved in this week and some next week. So we have quite a bit of educational outreach programs. Certainly due the last couple of years, we've been a lot remote and on Zoom with some in person. We hope to hopefully things are going to change when we get back to more in-person type meetings. Conducting applied research, whether it's market development studies or industry analysis and other things that go along with value-added agriculture. And we also do some in-service training for the extension agents that are out there with UT and TSU to kind of let them know more about what's going on in the area of value added so that they can handle some of those questions as well and can refer questions to us also. We also go to the individual assistance that we have on our website, and this is just a section to producers who are interested in receiving technical assistance, an opportunity to complete an application form to ask for that assistance. The form is located on our website. You can download the form. It is also an interactive form that you can do here as an interactive form. Sorry, it is a 4-page form asking information about yourself, a little bit about your farm, description of your value-added idea. What is it that you want to do? What investments would it take in the infrastructure? The assessment of what you think your potential market is going to be. Who are your target customers? And there's some other questions in there that we would need some information on. So once you've got that completed, you can return that to us, mail or email that to us, and the staff will look at these things and decide if and how assistance can be given. It may be in the areas of financial analysis with budgeting or cost analysis or something along those lines, market analysis. And again, it could go back to the technical or product development things where we're looking at, especially in food items, regulations, labeling, and packaging. But this form helps to give the specialist an idea of what you want to do and how we can evaluate that and what can we help with in that also. We also have educational events, and many of you that are on the call today, you may have read about or seen about the webinar due to our website. Hopefully, I know there's other ways also, but anytime we have educational activities, you can refer to this part of our website, and we just have a list, hopefully, of the things that we've got going on. Here's the website for today. Really couldn't get all the information on the slide here, but it tells you kind of what is planned, what the program's about, when it's going to be, how to apply, how to register for it, and all those kinds of things. We have all of them listed. I'm not going to click on each one of these, but these are some that were done recently. As we get into the new year and we have new things to add, we'll kind of redo this section of our website so that when we have educational offerings, you can go to this part and see what we have coming up. We've done some grow your direct to consumer farm sales with Pick Tennessee products and seminars. Megan LeFew in our office did that with Debbie Ball with the Tennessee Department of Agriculture in November about Pick Tennessee products. There was a series of 4 local workshops for reaching local farms working with UT Southern last month in December in Giles County, and some other things I think Megan was involved in this past fall. So as we move into the new year and get some new things in there, this will be a place to look at educational events to see exactly what it is that we have going on. Then there's another section on program areas, and there are several listed. Again, couldn't get them all on here, but if you have an interest in, let's just say, agritourism, this is a live link. You can find agritourism resources located here. The contact in our office for that would be Megan. The other things that you can't see on here, we do have sections on grapes and wine, on hops, on specialty crop profiles that we will look a little bit more in just a moment. Value-added dairy that Hal's been doing a lot of work on, value-added food manufacturing, value-added meats, and also value-added poultry can be found can be found here. So there's a live link to get some resources, and then there's the contact in our office that you could contact for more information on those as well. One of those areas is the specialty crops and profiles, and I want to just go through this for just a moment. If you don't mind, take just a couple of minutes to look at this, where we look at the specialty crop profiles that we have teamed with the Center for Crop Diversification with the University of Kentucky Extension, with some funding through a specialty crop block grant through the Tennessee Department of Agriculture to develop some crop profiles that could be of use for Tennessee specialty crop growers. We'll look more at those in just a moment. Under some other specialty crop profiles, just want to let you know there are the top 20, if you will, top 20 listing of profiles that we have available there. On specialty crops, we surveyed the extension agents and got their input as to what would be the top crops, specialty crops that producers would like more information on. So we have all those crops listed there, and those are live links to the Center for Crop Diversification to give you information about those crop profiles on those specific crops. In just a moment, we'll look at the other valuable resources that goes directly to the Center for Crop Diversification. Talk a couple of things with that. I also invite you, if this is your area of interest, some specialty crop webinar recordings that we did back in the summer. These are 4 one-hour recordings that we did. These are on garden mum production in Tennessee. They're on growing cut flowers in Tennessee. They're on marketing specialty crops, and they're on pollinators in specialty crops. So again, there are 4 one-hour sessions on each of those topics that we have. Next, I want to just look at briefly at these are the crop profiles that we have on our website. We hope to get at least one more. So we don't have near the number that Kentucky has, but we're working with them to do the ones that we have and hopefully get one more on here. So these are the ones that are currently on our website. The herb production in Tennessee, the one we mentioned about cut flowers, cider apples, garden mums, and also high tunnel overview of cropping systems of growing several crops or different crops in high tunnel systems. These are all, regardless of whichever one you might look at, they're all laid out in the same order pretty much. They have a little brief introduction into the particular crop that you're looking or reading about. It has market description and common marketing channels that you can use. It spends some time on production systems. It also goes into a little bit with pest management. That would include insects and disease problems on, again, whichever crop you may be looking at. It'll also talk about harvest and post-harvest handling of the crop. And then as it closes each one of these profiles, it has some economic considerations to look at. And then there are some live links for other additional resources from other universities on those particular crops. So most of these are 4 to 6 pages in length. They're not extremely long. The cut flower production one in Tennessee is 12. It has some other charts in there about varieties of different type flowers that can be grown in Tennessee. And I've just been surprised. That's just my own fault. I've been surprised at the interest in cut flowers that we have across the state, but that's good. The other one the other link under other valuable resources when we were on our website just a moment ago takes you directly to the Center for Crop Diversification site with the University of Kentucky. Under the production side of this, you'll notice these other topics that are under there. We have something on general production, which just gives you a general production resources that are available. It gives you some crop specific things. Now this is where you'd find most of the other crop profiles for vegetable, fruits, nurseries, ornamentals, and any other type of profiles. Now, where we have a handful of those on our website, Kentucky has probably 150, 200 different crops listed there. So it's a good place to find some information about specialty crops as well. The system specific, that gets into information more on greenhouses, more on high tunnels, more on organics, and more on landscape systems that you can find there also. Just a couple other things I want to point out on their website, and we use them a lot, and the Center for Crop Diversification works with us at CPA to do other things as well. But under price reports, if you click that, This will give you some charts on the reported prices of goods at farmers markets or produce auctions in Kentucky, Illinois, Indiana, Tennessee, and Ohio. And so if you're looking to sell things at farmers market, thinking about what you should price things at, there's a good place to get some information for that as well, at least to get some ballpark information for those things. Another thing for one thing on budgets, as we look at vegetable budgets or fruit budgets, one of the things that they have that I think is good, if you are a large scale producer, they'll have some vegetable budgets that will cover up to 5 acres on a crop and give you that type of budget. If you're much smaller, maybe even a gardener or whatever, they'll give you small scale budgets, and they'll have it down to about per 100 foot of row and do budgets based on that. So you can see both of those things coming into play depending on the size of operator that you might be. But those are some other things that we have on our center's website as far as some specialty crop things go that I think can be of help and of interest to many folks. Just a couple of things about if you're a beginning farmer, maybe just starting in agriculture or starting your farm. One of the resources that we have on our website under the resources tab, and all you'd have to do is go there and just type in beginning farmers. This particular publication will pop up for you there. It's about a 10 or 12 page a publication that we have. This is something that Hal and I put together a couple of years ago, and then we went back in the spring in May of 2021, rechecked all the links on there, and everything was working. And I looked at a couple of those before the presentation today, and those are live and working well. And you don't even have to be a beginning farmer. This can be of great benefit. There's a lot of educational resources, and basically this is a publication of live links to universities, to other things that you can get information about agriculture and agricultural products, and a little bit on funding resources. And some of the funding resources that we'll talk about briefly here today, and that you'll hear some of the rest of this week, you'll find some of those links here under funding resources also. But if you go there on our website, all those links are live, and you can find a lot of good information that I think will help you in your farming operation there as well. Continue just a little bit more about Beginning Farmers Program. Some of you already may know about the New Farmer Academy. This is not through the Center for Profitable Agriculture, but it's through Tennessee State University Extension. They've had this program going on for about 6 or 7 years now through Tennessee State. Fina Stribling is the main contact for the New Farmer Academy. This next slide will give you a little more information as far as contact goes. This is it's a 7-month certificate program. There are at least 3 of these across the state. Again, Fina Stribling heads all of them, but he does run the one in Nashville with TSU. There's a contact email for him. If you're in West Tennessee and Shelby County area or Memphis, Joanne Waterman with the Extension Service there. And over in East Tennessee, Jenny Goodrich in Wartburg or Morgan County, there's her contact. These are usually run anywhere probably beginning February or March up until September or October of each year. Basically, they are close to the same no matter where you take the program. They're kind of classroom setting things in the morning. In the afternoon, they take time to go outside. Maybe they're doing some field demonstrations. Maybe they're doing some farm visits. And depending on which class you go through, I think some of them are either on Mondays or Thursdays, but there's a contact information for those. They've been really good programs over the years. Maybe you're starting out, you don't know which way you want to go with your farming operation. This is a good place to learn and talk to other folks and see what might be of interest to you. I want to switch over to the SARE program for just a moment, talk about some of the grants that SARE offers. That you might have interest in. I do want to say up front that these are very competitive grants. I don't want that to discourage you, but I want you to know up front, these are competitive grants with other producers in the 13 southern states. So I want you to know about that. The best place to find the information about these grants are at their website, southern.sare.org is where you can find out all the information about it. There's 5 different grant programs. I'm just going to hit quickly on 3 of those. The one that you'd be the most interested in is the SARE Producer Grant. This one is open to individual farmers or farmer groups. For an individual farmer, you can get up to $15,000 for a 2-year project. That's the way Sarah kind of runs their grants. They feel like it takes you a couple of years to get the project up and going. They're called for the proposals in September of each year. Then you have a couple of months to work on that. Proposals are due in November, and then the funding is announced the next March, and then beginning the next April, you have the 2-year time limit to get the program done. It is where you conduct some type of research on your own farm. Maybe you've run into a problem. Maybe you're looking at varieties. Maybe you're looking at something along production. You've got to kind of come up with an idea or a thesis that you want to try to prove, and do the own research on your particular farm. There's also an outreach program to this. So at the end of your grant period, Sarah does want you to have a field day or something to show the results from what you did. So it could be hosting a field day on your farm. It could be putting together some educational information that could be distributed. But again, I would ask you just to look at the website for all the information on that particular grant. The second one I want to touch on quickly is the own farm research grant. This one is not for farmers, but it is for ag professionals, extension folks, USDA, ag consultants, other ones that work directly with farmers. I mentioned this one because it's similar to the one we just looked at. But if you have a good relationship with someone in Extension or USDA, and that person is willing to apply for the grant, they could do the research on your farm. Basically, they could do it on some of the research centers as well, but they could do it on your farm. This is a 2-year project. Again, they could get up to $20,000 funded. And again, the timeline for those proposals are pretty close to the same thing as the other one. The third one I'll call your attention to, this could apply to you. It could apply to maybe your child or your grandchild. The graduate student grant. So you have to be in school in a master's degree program or a PhD. They're the students that can apply for this, but it is a 2-year research grant on sustainable agriculture. They can get $16,500 on their grant to do some research on sustainable agriculture. And when Sarah looks at sustainability, they're mainly looking at the profitability of something. They're looking at conserving of land, water, and air resources. They're looking at a way of life or quality of life, and then they're also looking at production. So lots of things that we have. That sustainability can be a kind of a broad stroke there, but it is something on research projects on sustainable agriculture. In that $16,500, there's $1,000 included there for travel funds, because the student must present their findings at some type of educational conference on sustainable research. So this may be you. This might be again your child or some of your grandchildren that might have an interest in this. They need to work with their major professor at their university for that also. Again, I'd call your attention to the website for information about those. And then the last thing on Sarah that I'll throw out there, a couple of books that may be helpful to you all, that it can be found on the Sarah website. Again, Building a Sustainable Business talks about business plans. I know Les is going to be talking about some business plans in some of these webinars. Here's a book that can help you with that. Business Structures is the second book that you have there. You can go to the Southern Sarah website again, and under Resources and Learning, if you'll just in the search box put business planning, those books should be about the 4th or 5th book that pops up in the search. You can download those books, or you can order them online. The Building Sustainable Business one is about $17, and the other one is like $26. If you have problems with that, let me know, and we'll try to get you a book one way or the other on that. But they're good educational books. It can be helpful. We'll mention quickly about a grant program with the Farmer Veteran Fellowship Fund, the Farmer Veteran Coalition for Beginning Farmers. So this is providing assistance to veterans who are in their beginning years of farming. It can be veterans from any branch of the military in any service era, or if they're currently serving. They do need a business plan to apply, and it's up to $1,000 to $5,000 for a piece of equipment or something that would help you on your farm. paid to a third-party vendor. The money doesn't come to the producer. There is a process in this that the money goes directly to the vendor. This is the website to find out more information about that. A lot of money has gone into that over the years since this started in 2011. The application opened yesterday, and it'll be open until February the 14th of 2022. So they give you about 6 weeks to give that application. I think we had about 5 folks in 2020 in Tennessee that took advantage of that and were awarded under this. I'm going to kind of finish up here with the grant programs through the Southeast Dairy Business Innovation Initiatives grant. Hal has worked with this a lot more. He can tell you a lot more about this particular grant, but this is a program will expand its reach to make grant funding opportunities available to dairy businesses in all 12 southeastern states. This is kind of an ongoing grant from the USDA Agricultural Marketing Service. And then also, in addition to the grant funding opportunities made available through this program, this grant provides dairy businesses in the Southeast with a number of free and low-cost instructional resources. This would include such things as value-added dairy conferences, a variety of workshops offering advice and insights on topics such as marketing, business plan development, regulations, and just a lot more. And so the program helps to ensure that the dairy industry professionals have the tools and information they need to make informed decisions as they look at growth within that industry. And just an example of one of those upcoming workshops, with these are coming up pretty quickly on food safety hazards and best practices. These are free to attend and lunch provided. There's some ways to register online. Excuse me, Monday, January the 12th in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Tuesday, January the 11th in Bowling Green, and then one in Raleigh, North Carolina on January the 28th. And feel free that Hal could probably answer a little more questions about that if needed. I just want to close here, put this on here. If you have some kind of interest in agriculture in the state of Tennessee, there's probably an association or an organization out there that that can, in a sense, help you or get you with some folks that share the same interests that you do. Hopefully as well, I didn't put it on there, but UT Extension, TSU Extension will be there to help also. That's just, I'm gonna close. That's my contact information, my email and my phone number there here at the office. Hope that's been of value, and I'm going to stop sharing. And Les, I'm going to just turn it directly over to Les. And Les, if you will let you begin there at that point, please, sir.
Okay, is everything pulled up here? Good
Yes,
to go?
sir. Yes,
okay,
sir.
thank you, Troy.
Thanks, Les.
Oh, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Les Humpal, and I'm an area specialist with UT Extension. And I'm blessed to be part of the managed program. And today I'm just going to discuss a little bit about the program, what it can do or benefit value-added producers, and how to contact us and kind of go forward. Again, the managed program, it's been around for a while, since like the early 1980s. It started in 1986, and it was really based on the need at that time. Agriculture was going through some difficult times, high inflation, high interest rates, and dropping land values and commodity values. So it was determined, across Tennessee, that producers needed some assistance in understanding their record keeping, their finances, and how to put that information together to make better decisions going forward. One thing I do want to point out with this program that I'm a part of, there's no cost to it, and it is confidential between managed agent and the producer farmer. So kind of going over what manage is and what we kind of do, we kind of look at whole farm planning, record keeping, we'll discuss budgeting, goal setting, and risk management. So, when someone is applying, whether it's for a value-added producer grant or some other grant that Troy mentioned, or even having their own farm records going, the idea here is to give the producer better information before they can make those decisions on their own and make those better decisions. As I mentioned, I'm one of 9 managed agents from across the state. I've served the South Central Tennessee area, and I'm based in Murray County. I've been with the program for about six years now. We do have 4 of the agents that have been with the program since the early 80s. So we have a wealth of knowledge, and many of them have their specialties. Alan Galloway, who's based up in Putnam County, is an expert with the taxes. We have Dallas Manning down in Coffee County, who has put together a number of workshops for QuickBooks and also manuals on how to use the QuickBooks programs. So it's a wealth of knowledge that we have and willing to share. To contact any one of us, you can go to our website that's listed, or just kind of Google UT Manage program, and it'll bring up our website, and just click on our names, and our contact information will come up. So the whole objective of the program is to work with farm families to help them evaluate their financial situation and make that better informed decisions. So in the past, we've been working a lot with large producers, or what I should say, commodity family farms. But over time, that has changed. Again, I'm based in South Central Tennessee, and we have a big influx of really what I call alternative agriculture, people that are having small farms who are, whether it's going to be grape production, wineries, value add dairies, that type of thing, where we're offering a lot of educational material to them to help them kind of decide what they do and maybe what not to do. So with the program, we reviewed the a current financial situation that they may have, or if they're starting to be getting out, we kind of start from there. We want to capitalize on those strengths that an operation have and reduce some of those weaknesses within that farm business plan. We really want to focus on having individual farm and financial plans. There's a number of different budgets that individuals can have and use and incorporate into their plans. However, that's just kind of a generalization. One operation be quite different from another. So we want to make sure that that farm family has that information that is really specific to their goals and values. We'll also explore some alternatives. So if you are raising, say, corn, and you wanted to move to beans, that's kind of an alternative. Or if you're raising strawberries, wanted to add pumpkins, we can kind of incorporate that also into that plan. And finally, we want to, analyzing the consequences of changing the scope of an enterprise. So including new operations, maybe bringing a family member back to the farm. So the way that we do this, it's we have a one-on-one farm visits. Again, that can be at the farm, or even if you want to visit us at the county offices that is closest to where you live is fine as well. And we do that quite often. So we kind of would do a financial analysis of the current operation. And they want to really, again, kind of fine tune the various scenarios within your plans. What's very important is having your input, having, what are your family's goals, not only financially, but also long-term. Now, we do need to have some of that production information that you may have. And if you don't, if it's a new enterprise, we can work with that as far as going through budgets and some of our own experiences that we've had to see, what kind of output that you would have on that, whether it be a cattle operation, a row crop, or fruit and vegetable products. The more financial information, the better. We want to build, a balance sheet. We want to build income statements. We want to build cash flows. And also, what are the type of alternatives that you'll have within that operation we want to look at as well. Again, we want to really point out and really reinforce that this is all the financial and personal information is confidential. We've been doing this for close to 40 years, and we really take pride in the work that we do here. Other programs or whether other aspects of the managed programs that we work with, we'll have workshops, whether it's in the county level, regional or state level on marketing, strategic planning. We also do workshops on transition planning, moving the operation from one generation to the next. And that has really kind of picked up steam over the last few years with the new programs that we added. We also offer at different times of the year, Quicken and QuickBook record keeping workshops. And in the past, we've also done Excel. Oftentimes, you don't have to buy programs depending on the scope of your operations related to QuickBooks or Quickens. Oftentimes, that Excel can do a world of good without having that extra cost for you. And then also a lot of different beginning farmer opportunities. We work with Fine and Stribling with the beginning farmer academies. We also offer workshops in the past, kind of regionally, about beginning farmers, one-day workshops, kind of describe farming, some different techniques, and so on. Also, some of the different webinars and resources that we have, and currently it will be starting back up in January with our Master Farm Manager course, which will be an online course. We've had farmland leasing webinar series and tax tips series. Another one for beginning farmers is the Farming Fundamental webinar series. That's going to be starting again here in January. One good thing about these webinars that we have, especially the Farming Fundamental ones, it's going to be available 24/7. So it's not going to be live. It'll be recorded videos from a library of resources that you can kind of pick and choose what you would want to concentrate on within your farm operation. So again, you don't have to travel. You can do it at the comfort of your own home. But again, I do want to stress that even though we have a lot of these webinars, we are available for personal consultation, farm visits. Again, to reach some of this information, you can go to our website that we have listed here, or just kind of just typing in UT Managed Program. So again, the whole scope of what we do with our managed program is really to kind of help those farm families and individuals answer those questions of kind of where they are, where do they want to be, and how to get there. And again, that purpose of the business plan, and we'll kind of go over that a little bit more tomorrow when we discuss ag plan, is kind of communicate with communicate your business externally, to the lenders, investors, and partners. And I'll take that even a little bit further. When you put a business plan together and you're applying for a grant or value-added producer grant or one of the military grants, they're going to want to have that business plan, and we want to make sure that is communicated very clearly and specifically. The business plan is a very important tool within that home, your own family and employees, so they know what direction the business is going, and also, the steps that's going to take them to get there. And then also, with you have a long-term business plan, and it helps that manager or that individual kind of think through the process. What needs to be done, what needs to be done next, and any changes that may need to go along the way. One of the tools that we use, and it doesn't have to be specific to writing a business plan or a grant, but a great analysis tool that we use is called FinPack. And this has been around since the early 70s, developed from the University of Minnesota. And it's a tool to analyze, but it can do so much more than that. It's kind of a comprehensive financial planning where we can build balance sheets, we can build budgets within the system, income statements, cash flow statements as well. And again, this is used as a planning tool, not so much as a record keeping system. So we do need to have farm records, production records, financial records to make this of the most valued to the individual. So, the objectives here is profitability. What kind of revenue and income can you generate, liquidity, as far as being able to pay those short-term bills, and then also solvency, the financial growth and security, the long-term, to meet those debt obligations. And this is one thing that it really addresses within the system. So again, financial records, production records. The financial records are primarily pertain to the income and expenses within that farm. Oftentimes there'll be a farm operation, and the only records they really have is that Schedule F for their farm tax taxes. It does give us a basis to work with, but it doesn't get specific enough. So again, having some of those financial records specific to an enterprise is very helpful. Production records, bushels per acre, say the pounds of strawberries that you probably produce per acre or square feet, that type of thing, and also the quality that it goes through. With any type of record that you have, the more data you have, the many more years that you've done it, the more accurate they'll be and more beneficial they'll be doing long-term analysis. So again, I kind of mentioned when we look at some of those records that would break down into some of the balance sheets, we'll put them together. We typically want to do a beginning of the year balance sheet and ending of the year balance sheet. We want to kind of measure that financial progress. Again, kind of comparing it to a Schedule F tax form or whether you make money or not. It doesn't tell the whole story. A balance sheet will really tell which way your business is progressing. You do that every year consistently. You can see whether it's building strength or net worth or going the other way. Enterprise budgets. This is specific. For instance, if you have a cow-calf operation, that would be one enterprise budget. If you have you're producing peaches, that's an enterprise budgets. Or if you're having hay, that's be a separate as well. So we get them specific, not whole farm. So again, a lot of data, a lot of details that go into it, but it's something that we definitely want to work with. I kind of mentioned overhead at the bottom on the enterprise budget. So that would be whether it be supplies, utilities, probably even equipment. There's ways that we can work with that in assigning it to each enterprise. So again, what can the program do with impact? Compare alternatives. So once we have that data in the system, if you wanted to add it in enterprise, we can look at that. New resources, whether it's going to be financial resource, if you're looking at consolidating loans, we can see what changes we do come about, or if you want to add equipment, take a look at those cash flow statements as well to see how the changes come about. So with the use of the FinPact program, we can kind of compare potential profitability of crop and livestock enterprise one another. If you have an enterprise that you're using, maybe you're raising pumpkins and it's not adding value to your overall operations. We can kind of look at that. One thing to kind of keep in mind too, though, if you have these different enterprises, like I mentioned, the strawberries, pumpkins, if one's losing money, the other one's making money, you may not want to make that decision to cut one out. It may be beneficial to have both producing for the overall impact of your operation, having that kind of completing that product line, so to speak. So we want to look at those type of alternatives as well. We also do some partial budgeting. For instance, if, one example that I kind of use a lot with our beef producers is stockpiling forages in the fall. So we kind of look at, the value of buying less hay, using more of the pasture system. How does that affect the bottom line? Whether it's going to be adopting a new production practice, whether it's going to be adding organics versus conventional, how that'll take place, and also participating in some of these different government programs that are out there. Finally, too, taking a look at some of these early payment discounts on bills, pre-purchasing seed, fertilizer, feed, that type of thing. Does it make sense to do that? Are you better off, paying, say, a little higher price in the spring, kind of carrying that money further, using your financial resources elsewhere? So again, some of those partial budgetings that we can work with individuals as well. The whole idea here is to kind of produce a really good financial statement on which will lead to a very good business plan going forward. I kind of mentioned budgets. Troy mentioned a few from Kentucky on the crop side. UT has budgets as well. This is just an example of a cow-calf budget. We also have them for row crops. We have them for blueberries. I believe we have a new one coming out for blackberries and tomatoes as well. So again, it's a good basis to use. You want to make sure that you use your own information, but here's a tool that's already produced in Excel form where you can add your own updates to it. Long-range planning within that whole system, whether it's going to be using that FinPack program or some Excel, we kind of all compare long-term alternatives. Kind of investigate some of the changes ahead of time. Is it going to be feasible to make those changes? Having it done on paper is a good step. It kind of give you a good basis to move forward. Now, again, it all comes back to the data that we have going in. The cleaner the data, the cleaner and more detailed results coming back. So again, if it's going to be a startup cost, we want to make sure that we investigate that with some cash flow planning as well. And mention cash flow within the programs that we run. We can do monthly cash flows, or even cash flows yearly or up to 10 years. We kind of separate out the revenue source and then all the expenses. I think one of the more powerful tools for the cash flow statement is for the operator to understand, when obligations need to be met, whether it's going to be an operating loan, projected sales, are they going to meet the projected loan demands in months ahead? And a cash flow statement kind of allows that operator to make adjustments. So if they need to talk to their borrower about extending a payment, or if they see an opportunity where grain prices, for instance, will be much higher 3-4 months after harvest, they can work with their lender in extending those payments, take advantage of those higher values coming in from their crops. Year-end analysis, we want to really look at that whole farm plan in general, and then also on each enterprise, kind of looking for, what worked, what didn't work, what changes can come into place. So if, again, I mentioned earlier, if you use this year after year, that historical data is really going to be able to come forward and allow evaluations of financial and production consistencies trends more accurately. Risk management. Again, risk in any operations, whether it be row crop, value added, is going to be there. So you can't eliminate it, but maybe we could work with it. So, there's a number of different ways we can do that, whether it would be, some advanced marketing, long-term marketing, using things to say livestock risk management, part of the USDA programs, or if you have specialty crops like NAP insurance through FSA. So there are ways that we can work with that as far as managing the risk. And in most business plans, they're going to want to know how are you going to manage risk? Prices go down, if you have crop failure. They want to see that within that plan before they say, award a grant or funding. They want to have a strong plan in place and management capability as well. So some of those sources could be production, it could be input performance risk, commodity price changes, and technology risk or competitive risk as well. What will happen if another producer, for instance, opens up across the road? How that affects your business. Those are some of those things that we can look at within our meetings. Just some final thoughts that I have here for today is you want to be cautious about a new practice if no other farmer is using it. But however, remember that innovators are the ones that gain in early adoption. But again, they carry that higher risk. But we've seen it in the past where there's an idea that comes about where it looks great, a reference to maybe hemp, but it doesn't turn out well. So again, it's kind of doing that homework, doing investigations into what will work long-term and also on the short-term basis. And, don't jump to conclusions about what makes a particular business successful. There's many different aspects, whether it's going to be access to capital or resources. You want to make sure that you focus it on your own business and your own particulars. And just, some kind of final thoughts here. A good sign of a good manager's ability to decide what is important and to get dependable information with minimal effort. Secondly, doing nothing is also a decision, to continue what you've been doing in the past. Sometimes not making a change is a good decision, but that decision should be made unconsciously instead of just letting it happen. And that's what I just want to just reiterate as far as through the managed program. That's what we're here for, to kind of take an unbiased look at your operation and work with you and help you decide what's best for your own operation. So here's my contact information. I have my cell number on there. If you want to contact me or text me, I'll be glad to, if I'm not in your area, to put you in contact with another managed agent or your county director. That's all I have, and I'll stop sharing here and turn it back over to Hal.
Okay, thank you so much, Les. Really appreciate that. I'm going to share my screen again because I got another thing or two to mention. Let's see if I can do this now. Okay, so thank you, Troy and Les, for your presentations today. As has been mentioned already, grant opportunities are often competitive, and you increase your likelihood of success if you read the request for applications carefully, and if you follow all the instructions to make sure that you've only included expenses that are eligible and that you've answered all the questions in the application completely. And another suggestion is start early. We're expecting this value-added producer grant to be announced very soon, probably sometime this month. So, you want to get a jump on getting things together for that. And as soon as it comes out, read the RFA carefully. And the resources that Troy and Les have mentioned today can be really helpful in developing your business plan and your marketing plan. Really appreciate them sharing from their experiences. They've both been at this for quite a while, and they had some really good information to share today. So we are looking forward to tomorrow's webinar on using Ag Plan to write your business plan, and on Tennessee Department of Agriculture grants for value-added producers. We're going to also be having our workshops next week on developing a strong application for the USDA value-added producer grant. They will be on January 11th, 12th, and 13th. And we'll go line by line through the application and explain, what's being asked for and how to answer those questions. I want to mention a couple of other additional resources. Cornell Small Farms Program, they offer over 24 online courses, and they've got one that's coming up starting next week called Access to Capital. It can be really difficult to navigate through, getting a grant, and this course specifically covers the various aspects of seeking funding for a farm enterprise. Another one that they offer is called Writing a Business Plan. It's going to start next Monday also. And it's designed to help you build a business plan, including how you develop financial statements. So anyway, we look forward to your joining us again tomorrow, and also on Thursday and Friday for the webinars that we'll be conducting. Thank you so much. And as I mentioned before, this will be recorded and made available to you in the coming days. So thank you for joining us today. Have a great afternoon.